On November 25th, 1998, the television program Hey Arnold aired the episode The Flood, in which a group of students get trapped in their elementary school due to inclement weather. 2 years later, on December 17th, 2000, The Simpsons aired Skinner's Sense of Snow, in which the weather causes another group of students to get stuck at school. In both cases, this happens right before the kids go on break, and both groups quickly descend into chaos. Both feature beleaguered faculty members, as well as a subplot involving parental figures going to rescue them. And this parental figure? Both are voiced by Mr. Dan Castellaneta. Is this just a coincidence? Did Matt Groening look over at what his brother-in-law's show was doing and borrow one of their story ideas? Did The Simpsons do it, or was it Hey Arnold the entire time? You know, it was inevitable I'd be doing a Hey Arnold comparison, because its production is just too linked to The Simpsons to not talk about it. If you're a 90s kid and never heard this bit of trivia, prepare to have your mind blown. So, Craig Bartlett, the creator of Hey Arnold, was married to Lisa Groening, the sister of Matt Groening and Lisa Simpson's namesake. They married in 1987 and stayed together for nearly 30 years. Craig and Matt both graduated from Evergreen State College, albeit 4 years apart. Some of his original Arnold comics appeared in Simpsons Illustrated. In addition, he wrote several novelizations of Hey Arnold episodes with Maggie Groening, Matt's older sister and Maggie's namesake. A couple of The Simpsons voice actors worked on both shows. Dan Castellaneta played the parental figure Grandpa Phil, and Tress MacNeille voiced Arnold's grandma. Obviously, with the voice actors, that's just the industry being the industry. Actors gotta work. But the familial link between Matt Groening and Craig Bartlett have always made me think of The Simpsons and Hey Arnold as being sister shows. Hey Arnold had some of that Simpsons snark, although obviously filtered through a tamer, school-age Nickelodeon filter. Honestly, I'm just glad to finally be covering a show I actually know for one of these things. As per usual, The Simpsons episode is twice as long, so it's naturally going to contain extra plot beats. This might shock you, but the Hey Arnold episode does not open with a 5-minute long Cirque du Soleil parody for some reason. Well, actually, the preceding segment was about the kids getting all pissy because Helga's stand-up comedy is too real, man. So I guess both did start with them seeing a show. This is an especially irrelevant opening set piece, even by the Simpsons standards, as none of this circus stuff has anything to do with anything later. It exists to set up a windstorm, which evolves into a snowstorm. At least Hey Arnold sticks with one weather pattern per episode. In terms of getting the kids stuck at school, the two go about it somewhat differently. The Simpsons start out at home, disappointed that Springfield Elementary is open, and then take a dangerous bus ride. There's an understanding that the kids shouldn't even be here to begin with. The teachers have an emergency caucus, and Skinner is stuck entertaining them with a Christmas hobgoblin rom-com. Whereas the kids of PS 118 are just finishing up a normal day, and the storm sneaks up on them. Similarly to The Simpsons though, there's an authority figure creating an unfair situation. Mr. Simmons wants them to spend 10 minutes after school to think about how their class is a tribe, and how special they all are, because Mr. Simmons enjoys emotionally torturing them. In those 10 minutes, everyone else leaves, and the leftovers receive a warning of the flood and to shelter in place. Now, much like The Simpsons, you would think they would have a weather service that would say, "Hey, there's a flood coming, we should close early today." Not that I would second guess the illustrious Principal Warts. So maybe these two setups are more similar than they appear. But the main thing is that both groups of kids are in danger of missing part of their time off. Spring break and winter break respectively. Also, they might die or whatever. Next, both episodes go to the disgruntled snack time phase, an important part of any locked-in narrative. Mr. Simmons hands out peas, and Principal Skinner distributes the relish. The Hey Arnold kids are more disgruntled toward each other, with Helga arguing with Harold, Simmons, and that other guy, and then instigating a food fight with Stinky, who is the best character on the show. On The Simpsons, this disgruntlement is entirely towards Skinner, who they blame for the situation and who won't let them leave. They are masters of the angry stare. The teacher-student dynamic is the key difference between these two stories. Mr. Simmons thinks of his group as a tribe, and the beginning highlights how dysfunctional the kids are toward each other. Whereas Skinner treats them as an army platoon, subordinates to boss around and keep in line. With one exception, the Springfield Elementary kids never fight each other. They're totally united against their common enemy. Early on, both episodes feature a failed escape plan that is quickly abandoned. Nelson tries riding this bike to freedom, which backfires spectacularly and very bouncingly. This is what motivates Skinner to go into army mode and put chains on the doors. Whereas the Hey Arnold crew goes back to the classroom. Mr. Simmons entertains them with show tunes for furries, and Curly comments how he hasn't changed his underwear in 5 weeks. When Rhonda isn't impressed, he leans in and demands, "Give Daddy some sugar." You know, I was expecting today's Hey Arnold episode to have less sexual harassment than The Simpsons, but clearly I have underestimated Curly. Anyway, Helga has rightfully had enough of these dingbats and tries to escape, only to find a chained up door handle, much like The Simpsons. She also finds Principal Warts committing cultural appropriation, singing about a Mexican cockroach that loves to smoke weed. They both agree that none of this ever happened. Now we've reached the turning point, where everything really starts hitting the fan. Bart, who has had enough of these dingbats, tries tunneling his way to freedom. But of course, Skinner catches him, criticizes his lack of buttresses, and after another argument, can no longer slap his willy around. I guess the willy equivalent in this story is warts. 2 cultural stereotypes who do nothing while they watch the place burn. Anyway, the tunnel collapses and Skinner's captured by the kids, confined to a dodgeball sack. Nothing this bad is done to Mr. Simmons. Once again, the kids are too busy fighting each other, with Curly creating a panic over their pet snake turning into a monster. You know this is bad when even Sheena is pissed about this. This is more, Mr. Simmons can't get them under control. Harold yells that they're not going to listen to him anymore, and then, when water starts seeping in, they all go running out to find higher ground. Or at least they try to. You might say these kids have Three Stooges syndrome. The kids don't actively torture Simmons, they just run off. So he tells Arnold that he's going to find his way to the roof to leave them all to drown. Or to signal a helicopter. Whichever. Next up, we have the children are revolting phase, the ugliest phase of the narrative. This part is significantly more pronounced in the Simpsons version, as Acts 2 and 3 are basically one giant humiliation conga for Skinner. They make him climb a rope, they make him reenact tired running jokes, they marvel over him being a millionaire. That last one doesn't sound so bad, but it's pretty depressing watching them go through their permanent records. Even Lisa participates and learns a new word. Whereas the Hey Arnold kids simply run amok in an art room upstairs. Once again, they're flinging stuff at each other, while Curly commits a hate crime against indigenous people. With Curly's harassment of women, his fear-mongering, and his cultural insensitivity, he has a bright future in politics. I really like Skinner's sense of snow, but watching these two side by side highlight its major weakness. There is no actual arc to Skinner and his students. They torture him, he sneaks off to send Nibbles away to find help, and is quickly captured again. Inside the school, there's no actual showdown or complication. The kids just run amok for the whole second half and build the story toward nothing. On Hey Arnold, however, it culminates in an exciting rescue. They discover Mr. Simmons trapped on a ladder, which broke off when cowardly trying to leave them behind. The kids have to unite as a tribe to save him, formulating a plan to use a flag to reel him in. Since Helga sucks at throwing, Stinky steps up to the plate to prove why he is the best character on the show. Helga takes yet another L by immediately falling into the water and also needing to be rescued. You know, Olga wouldn't have fallen in the water. Either way, they're saved and the kids actually complete a character arc, unlike The Simpsons. Now you might be wondering, what have the parents been up to while all this chaos is going on? Well, in both cases, a rescue plan is hatched. Homer, the Mr. Kakashka equivalent, mooches off his neighbor's truck and roof, despite once owning a snowplow business. I remember that episode distinctly because it features Homer coming onto Marge with his patented catchphrase, "You keep the money." Anyway, Grandpa Phil is getting his mode of transportation ready, but here comes Mr. Kakashka to weasel in on the action. Interestingly, both of these subplots feature characters doing drugs. Homer drives irresponsibly and quickly crashes the car, with the two of them getting high off the carbon monoxide. Whereas Grandpa and Kakashka have trouble getting out the starting gate. Mr. Kakashka drugs Grandpa with sleeping pills so he can steal the boat and charge people for their rescue. Also, presumably, this will leave Grandpa to drown. See, I told you he was the Homer equivalent. Once old Steely Phil awakens and wrestles the boat away, it's relatively smooth sailing for them. With Homer and Flanders, it's one blunder after another, filled with ranch dressing fantasies and crashing into this giant salt silo because Homer can't read. In both cases, however, they're able to rescue the kids. Grandpa and Kakashka arrive after Simmons is saved and ferries them away for the low price of 50 cents each. And the salt silo melts away the snow, freeing the children inside. Much like Helga and Principal Warts earlier, Bart and Principal Skinner agree that none of this ever happened. Fundamentally, both of these stories get at the chaos created during a disaster and the social structures that get formed. Both groups of kids run amok and trash the place, sure. However, their dynamics with the overwhelmed faculty are quite different. The PS 118 kids start out much more ornery, whereas the Springfield Elementary kids initially keep their cool, and then go absolutely apeshit in the second half. Both do contain some similar elements, like getting stuck there due to an unfair situation, a student trying and failing to escape early, and even the use of the classroom pet in the narrative. The goals of the B-plot are basically identical, with the parents trying to rescue the kids. You could even argue that both Skinner and Simmons spend Act 3 seeking help from the outside world. So, on my patented 1 to 5 butter scale, with a score of 1 denoting completely different stories, and 5 being a total ripoff, I am actually giving this a score of 1 butter. And here's why. While the premise does seem similar, with the two groups of kids trapped at school, the core conflict of the stories are too different. This isn't like the Two Butters Arthur example, where Bart and Buster had basically the same arc, and it's just the POV that changes. The Simpsons kids being an army platoon versus Hey Arnold's tribe lead to totally different themes and outcomes. The Simpsons is more about compliance leading to rebellion, where they truly get their revenge on Skinner. The Hey Arnold kids are given this rescue sequence to prove something about themselves, to prove Mr. Simmons' belief in them was right. In one story, the teacher gets rescued, in the other, they get recaptured. Really, the similar B-plots is what makes me want to give it a 2, but even those are played pretty differently in terms of their journeys. And once again, not to drop kayfabe again, but even if they were more similar, obviously Matt Groening wasn't stealing anything from his brother-in-law's show. There is no conspiracy, the goal here is to shitpost and do comparisons. It's just a fun connection between these shows. I wondered if I'd ever give a 1 to anything, because what is the point of doing a comparison if they're so radically different? But I think this is an interesting illustration of how the characters and vibe of a series can pull a concept in different directions. Hey Arnold just isn't as cynical or nihilistic as The Simpsons. They're more interested in inserting some kind of teachable lesson into their narratives, and are gonna build these concepts with that in mind. They are much more apt to build toward reconciliation. And The Simpsons can be like that too, don't get me wrong, but The Simpsons also loves those subversive, just a bunch of stuff that happens narratives. And Skinner's sense of snow is definitely one of those. Also, I think a lot of the difference comes down to Mr. Simmons versus Principal Skinner. Simmons has such a softer, gentler personality overall, whereas Skinner's more of an antagonist for Bart to battle. These two episodes demonstrate how much authority figures dictate the general mood of a story. They often introduce the themes, the obstacles, and the main conflict. Basically what I'm saying is that this could have easily been 3 or 4 butters if Principal Skinner weren't such an asshole. Let me know in the comments what you think of these episodes and how similar you think they are. Is Homer truly as bad as Mr. Kakashka? Could Helga beat up all the Springfield kids? Who can be the bigger wet blanket, Arnold or Lisa? And as per usual, let me know if there are any other shows with similar episodes as The Simpsons. Recently, I've been hearing rumblings about Tiny Toons doing their own Night Gallery Halloween special, as well as South Park's own World of Warcraft homage. And maybe it's time I discover if I am a brony by looking at an episode where a huckster comes to town. I have so many suggestions in the backlog as well, so keep those suggestions coming. There's a lot of stuff out there. I want to say, this is the final video of 2025, so I want to say thanks to everyone for hanging out during another fun year on this channel. Hope you're all having a happy holiday season, and I'll see you next year. Ha!